So basically you have about until 9:30 for you to present. Okay, so just use the time, take your time and begin your presentation. All right, so you can just start anytime that you wish. All right, so I'll just mute my microphone.
Are you sharing the slide, sir? Is it or us?
We are not going to share any slide. You just refer to your own slide and I'll be referring to the one that you have uploaded in the Telegram group. But you do not need,
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. All right. Okay, sure.
because if you share, it will, take up your data, and also in areas where your internet connection is not really that good, it will be a bit lagging. So I do not want sharing the slide to disrupt your presentation. So you
Right.
just refer to yours and I'll refer to the one that you have uploaded in the Telegram group.
All
Okay?
right, sure. Yep.
So whenever you guys are ready.
Okay, so I guess we'll start now. Can you hear me? Yes, okay. Thank you. Okay, so salam and good morning to Mr. E and to my group members. So my name is Nicolette, and today with me I have my group members, that is Steffi and Dia. So okay, before I begin, today we will be presenting the SAM and Higgs Law model. So before we begin, let me just briefly explain our presentation flow for today. So I'll be the first presenter. So I'll be explaining a general idea of what is SAM, and then I'll go into more details about SAM 1. And then next one, we'll have Steffi. Steffi will be explaining in details this about the SAM 2, which is the extensive of the SAM 1. And then last but not least, we will have Dia. Dia will be explaining the Higgs Law model. So I'll start with the first first model, that is SAM. Okay, so what is SAM? SAM is the acronym of Successive Approximation Model. So SAM has been introduced by the Allen interactions, and it serves as the interactive design and delivery model to meet the immediate demands of usable training collateral. I'm sorry, can you hear me clearly? Yeah. Okay, so I'll start with so before I go further to SAM 1. So generally, SAM can be divided into two parts. That is SAM 1. SAM 1 is the basic SAM. They call it as the basic process of SAM. And then there is SAM 2, which is the extensive version. Okay, so in SAM 1, SAM 1 is mainly for a small project and also for a small team. So how does this work? Yeah. So for SAM 1, the one thing about SAM 1 is that everyone's idea and assumptions can be discussed, prototyped, and tested in this SAM 1 process. So it is for both SAM 1 and SAM 2, they are considered as to be an agile approach. So agile approach. So what is agile approach? Okay. So agile approach is the time box, which involve the iterative approach to software delivery that builds software incrementally from the start of the project, instead of delivering it all at once. Yeah, so that is agile approach. Sorry, sorry, I'm a bit nervous. Okay. So how does this agile approach work? So agile approach works by breaking down the projects into little bits of user functionality. So agile approach starts with prioritizing them, and then we will continuously delivering them in a short 2-week cycles which is called interactions approach. Yeah. So for example, examples of project of a small project that can be used in this SAM 1 basic process, or the agile approach, which using agile approach is first one would be the batch course. So batch course is actually a course that focuses on delivery of learning outcome that represents skills and knowledge gained through short training. So So in this training, the learners are required to complete the course or training within within the time frame. So how does this work? Yeah. So there will be three phases. So as we all know, SEM has three phases for both. Yeah, for SEM 1 and SEM 2. Okay, the first phase would be the preparation, and followed by interactive design phase, and then lastly the interactive development phase. So another example that I would like to highlight today, which can be related to the course that we are learning right now, that is for example, I have the sample here. Okay, for example, the production of a food. Yeah, so this is the wafer cubes food. This is like a snack. So okay, so in order to produce this kind of food, of course we have a lot of considerations to take. Yeah, the which that includes the ingredients of the food. Is it suitable? Is it suitable to be consumed by elderly, by children under 12 years old and whatnot? And then is it the ingredient use is safe to be consumed and whatnot? And then when we wanted to commercialize or to promote this product, so one of the initiative that we can take is by maybe we can produce or create a website specifically for this food. Okay, so when it comes to website designing, so also applies the same thing, which we will need a lot of things to be discussed and whatnot. Well, it might take how do we attract people to visit our sites, to websites, and to view our products and whatnot? Is the color attractive enough? I mean, is it is it user friendly? Can everyone access to the websites and whatnot? So I think that would be all from me, and I will let Steffi continue. Thank you.
Okay, Nicole. I will continue on to the second version of SAM, which is the extensive version. Currently, I am referring to the diagram in our slide that goes to said with what Nicole mentioned before. This SAM process actually has two very distinguishable characteristics. First is their agile approach, and in the second version, they actually are more apparent on the iterative process, which actually means the iterative process provides opportunities to experiment, test, and revise the designs that are given by the people who are using SAM. In this process, SAM2 actually has three process, and in this process I will closely relate to the examples we choose that actually applies SAM2, which is e-learning. Okay, I will start with the first process. The phase is called the preparation phase. Here in this first phase, SAM starts with the information gathering, which is called the savvy start. That means the development focus is to ensure an alignment between the learner's performance needs and the learning solution. In this preparation phase, all the parties should be involved. That includes the instructional designer, the facilitator, program manager, as well as stakeholders. And to start this collaborative brainstorm session, it has to be established through a project foundation, which usually is which usually is in the formats of meetings. Okay, for the second phase, which is called the iterative design phase. In this phase, the model in three iterations of design, which is prototype, design, and review, is quite similar to each instructional design. It collaboratively go through the development, implementation, and evaluation altogether. quite similar with Eddie actually and Assure. It involves steps of design, developments, and also evaluation. All parties, ideas, and assumptions are discussed together along with the prototype version and then evaluated early on approaching the usable product. For the third phase, development, in this phase, it's led by an instructional design where all parties will collaboratively go through the development, the implementation, and the evaluation. Like aforementioned, this design or this model is actually goes along in circles. They repeatedly and continuously uh, keep going back and forth with the first, second, and now the third development phase. It's a continuous process that they revise and experiment on again and again. And with that being said, the fourth step on this last phase, which is the third one, it starts with a design proof, which derives from the first iteration development and it moves to the alpha mode. It's a complete version of the instructional application. Then it evolves into beta, a version after feedback from the alpha set. And it is then finalized into a gold version, a version after feedback in the beta step. Then instructional designers and others will continually analyze and then evaluate throughout the process. At any point, if any changes or anything that needs to be revised again, they will need to quickly limit any risk of moving despite the need to continuously change. They need to be very aware of the budget and time, which allows us much higher flexibility despite in utilization of resources during the whole development process. By taking an example of the application in SAM, this agile development in e-learning focuses on more delivery of the learning outcomes, and that represents the skill and knowledge that the learners gain throughout the short training most e-learning software actually provides. With that expectation, most of this SAM version, second version, and they intend to address the most common design pains point, which is meeting timelines, which is staying on budget and collaborating with SMEs, which has their unique values in it. Where it's more of like supporting the development of this non-profit credit programs, which encourages a wider range of people to come together and to start a learning journey through e-learning, which really requires less budget and much shorter time frame. I think that's all for the second version of SAM. I will give on the next task to Dia. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Steffi. Okay, so I will proceed with our second chosen theory, which is the Higgs Law. So let me start. Okay, so what is Higgs Law? So first of all, Higgs Law has been made by a British and an American psychologist team of William Edmund Hick and Ray Hyman in 1952. So basically, the initial name for this theory is the Hick-Hyman's law, but now they simplify it to Higgs law, simple. Okay, so basically this team of a British and American psychologist, they examine the relationship between the stimuli present and the time taken for the individual to make decision. So what are the factors? First, we have the time taken for them to make a decision, and second, we have the choices present for them, and third is the person who make the decision. So these factors will lead to the number of options, and the reaction time taken for them will lead to the result. So basically, the higher number of options, the longer the time taken for a person to make decision. So when you have more options, you will take more decision. You will take more time in making decision. So I think this applies to our daily life without us realizing it. It's actually things that we apply, but we didn't know it comes in theory. So basically, this is it, the Higgs law. So when to use it? When to use it? When response times are critical. This means when we have a really critical time, when we have a really short time to make decision, we can use Higgs law, where we break down the choices, and that is where we can make the decision as quick as possible. Second one, we can use it to make a simple decision making with multiple options. So it just a very simple decision, does not require any extensive reading or whatnot. Last, we have when to use it to simplify complex process. So to simplify complex process, when the process does not requires readings and so on. So we want to simplify this complex process, so that we can make a quicker decision for the individual. And when not to use it. Okay, so when not to use it, complex decision making. So this is where it requires extensive reading, searching, and so on. So for example, complex decision making, when let's say we are going on vacation next week, and we are going to have dinner at a fancy restaurants. So that requires a little bit of research, reading feedbacks, getting reviews, that kind of process that will take quite a time before we make a final decision. Then we have when choices are complex. So when choices are complex, this includes when the choices also need us to read more readings, do more searching, so that things we may not be able to apply this Higgs law. Probably the prediction of Higgs law will fail. Okay, so just as the example I've been given, okay, this example that I have next on the picture, that's actually a very recent example of my own, where it applied to me last week. So I wanted to buy this cloth, this blouse, and however, there's quite a few if you can see, there's quite a few there's quite a few colors there. So it simply needs me to choose one color. But honestly speaking, I took almost a week to decide which color I am going to buy. Okay, so that really um I mean, it's really hard for me to decide on one color. So like I said, the factors are the choices and also the person who make the decision. As I know myself, I'm quite a really hard person to make a decision. So because the options here are quite a few. There's I think 8 or 9 like that. So first thing first, what I did, I narrow it down to few colors, top 3 colors, and then to top 2. Then between the top two, I have sage and olive colors that I would like to purchase. But it still took me quite a time to actually decide, because they're also good. Okay, so this is the daily the examples that we actually apply in our daily life, if in any decision we're making. So this is actually a simple decision making. It's just I'm the one who's taking the time to make a decision for that. So okay, let's move on to so this is the example that happens throughout our daily life. Okay, we move on to the next slide. Okay, so as you can see here, there's a good navigation and bad navigation structure. Okay, let us go to the bad navigation structure first. Okay, as a user, first impression of a page when you first see, it's actually okay, the first page is actually your first impression when you see a website. Okay, so I think as a user, this website does not lead to good experience. We may have frustration because we couldn't find, as you can see, the choices in the website, the categories are quite they divided the category into small chunks. It's too small, which is also not good in web designing. So let's say so this website, the bad navigation website, this one, they couldn't give me a best experience. They couldn't lead me to the function that I need. I mean, if I search, if I want to look for the news or the specific news or what, because there are too many numbers, too many small boxes, so it's just very crowded. So it probably not a good example um for a good navigation structure. So however, this web designer does not apply this Higgs law. Okay, let's see for the good navigation structure. So we all know Fashion Valley, and I think they have a good navigation structure. So as you can see on the top of the website, they categorize by all the things, all the functions that we need, including the sale, accessories, bags, and beauty. So that's actually lead me to good experience, where if I simply know where I want to go, what I want to do. So for example, I want to go to, usually I only go to the sale part. So if I want to purchase anything on sale, I simply click on the sale. And even if you click on the sale, they will bring you to another category where you can choose what types of sales item would you like to see, like bags or shoes. So that's actually a really good example. It's easy. Even if I have shut down the website, and if I want to go through it again, I would, because it's easy after they applied this Higgs law. So that's the category, and then there's not too many things. They did not oversimplify it. Okay, so next one. Okay, this remote is, I think it's a very common example, as we can see. I also experienced it myself. So the first remote, as you can see, there are quite a number of functions there, and the second one, it's a it's some simpler system. It's a simpler system and with less choices, and which will make you which will make you quicker in making decisions. So if you can see this remote example, it actually happens to Astro's latest remote control. If you have the latest control of Astro's remote, you know, previously we know that Astro's remote, sorry, I don't have it with me now, but previously we know that Astro's remote control is the black one, the one that have all the functions just the same as this picture. And the latest one, the remote controls of Ultrabox Astro that Astro has provided us, is a simpler version of remote, which is something like this, also something like this. It's lesser, which we know that they are actually using the Higgs law, where the system is a bit lesser, with less and clearer options. So this will lead for users to have a better experience. Okay, so how this Higgs law functions to web designing. So as a designer, we use Higgs law to analyze how many functions we have on every aspect of our website, and how this will impact the decision-making approach of your users. The first the first landing page of your site will lead to first impression. It's the first impression of your users. So of course, we want them to have good experience, not being frustrated or not leaving the website, so they are applying this Higgs law in deciding, in giving better experience for the user. So I hope that this Higgs law's example is clear to you guys, and also that we didn't realize that we actually have been applying this Higgs law in our daily lives. So that is all from me. Yeah.